Enjoying our outdoor spaces in the summer sometimes just comes down to being able to stay cool while we're doing it. Patios and decks are great, but sometimes the full force of the sun can make them hot and uncomfortable. That's when we have to get creative. Here to talk to us about a couple of creative options for shading your outdoor space is Dave Wagaman from Hometown Restyling. Thanks for being with us today, Dave. What is the most common request that you get from homeowners when it comes to helping them solve their problems in their outdoor spaces?
The two most common questions are, how can we make our space lower maintenance so we don't have to spend our time painting or staining on our weekends? And then how do we extend the usage? How can we be out there more of the year?
All right, well, I want to talk about something in particular today. As you'll see behind us, there is a beautiful pergola there. Can you explain to us just what a pergola is and why it's such a great option?
Yeah, a pergola is a partial shade structure that will allow you to be out in the space free from the heat, free from the UV rays. And it's generally a few posts, a beam, some rafters, some crescents that help give you this aesthetics and this beautiful space that just helps keep you cool.
Well, this one is absolutely gorgeous, and I imagine there are lots of different design types out there. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the pergola we have here is a fixed pergola. It's attached to the house, which is again great because it just does what it needs to do. It's going to give you the aesthetics and that shade. But this pergola we have in front of us sample is going to show the operable pergola, which is going to give you the best of both worlds, the aesthetics and shade, but also a built-in motor that's driven with a steel shaft and operates these crescents. At any point you can start or stop, but it does fold down to give you complete coverage, and it has a built-in guttering system that helps shed the water to the edge of the deck.
Great. So let's say you're out having a family picnic outside and it starts raining. It's automated, right? You don't have to crank anything. It's all motorized.
It's all motorized. With a click of a button, you'll be able to start and stop this when and where you want.
Okay. Or if the sun shifts, you need a little more shade. That's a great option. Now, it feels very sturdy too. Let's talk about materials. What do you commonly make a pergola out of?
So there's a lot of different options, and in all reality, traditionally, pergolas were manufactured or constructed out of wood, and wood gives you a lot of customization, and it has a lot of strength, but that's still gonna come with a lot of maintenance, painting, staining, and ultimately will deteriorate and need to be replaced. So although wood is a fine option, there's also aluminum options, and this aluminum specifically is gonna be a very thin aluminum, which doesn't have nearly as much structure, going to be much more prone to denting, dinging, just not looking great long term. And then what we opt for is a much heavier duty structural aluminum that is finished with an electrostatic paint. So it's going to be maintenance free. If anything, you might need to hose it down once a year.
Yeah, that's much more substantial, and it's got a glossy, pretty finish.
Yes, they look beautiful.
So what are the other benefits of having a pergola?
Yeah, so some of the big benefits, like we talked about already, is we're stopping the UV rays from coming in, and not only getting you, which is gonna, keep you protected from the sun, but your furniture, and you don't want to have the furniture fading out over time. You're gonna have the benefit of shading a window potentially and stopping some of that sun coming into the house, heating the house up, and creating glares inside the home. Lastly, again, back to that operable pergola, you have the ability to close down and protect yourself from a rain. You stay dry.
Right, and as far as comfort too, you still feel like you're outside. It's not like you're under an awning, or a canopy.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you're going to define that space and feel some of the benefits of being shaded, but yet be able to enjoy the outdoors, which everybody's looking for.
Now, speaking of space, are there certain spaces that are better suited for a pergola than others?
Absolutely. We can generally do something at any space, but we really want to put our eyes on a project and be able to kind of give the customer some options of what we can and can't do. Again, this pergola specifically is an attached pergola that's fixed. We can go to a detached pergola. It gives us a lot of flexibility of where we place it on a deck or even off of a deck in the yard. We see them outside in other either fire pit areas, dining areas, if you've got a picnic table, if you've got the benefit of a pond or some great viewing area, you've got this space that you can go to.
Yeah, that would be great. So I'm sure that you piqued the interest of some of our viewers here. Let's talk a little bit about the process that you go through with customers in planning a pergola.
Sure, absolutely. We have generally a pretty good turnaround from the time frames a customer contacts us. We'll generally want to come out within the next week or so to go through the options, and really a consultation, which we do for free, will generally take somewhere around 60 minutes. Obviously, it's going to depend on all the questions and how detailed the project gets. But then once we're ready to place an order, at that time we can project out that it's going to take variable time based on the availability of material, availability of work crews, but it's generally 5 to 6 months by the time we can get to a project.
Okay, so you can't order it today and expect it next week.
Very true.
Basically. Great, but it's a custom project and you want to be sure to do it right.
Yes, a lot of details can go into these projects, and we try to make it as simple as possible.
Can you also give us an idea of the expense of this project? Is there a cost range you can give us? I'm sure they're all different.
Yeah, there's a lot of options like we talked about, and all those options, and then the biggest factor is the scope and size of the project, which will determine the cost of a project like this. We can see these projects be as affordable as a few $1,000s up to tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for joining us. It is always a great idea to enhance our living spaces.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Sometimes it's good to throw a little shade, especially when it benefits your PowerHouse.